Many theater traditions have started out as exclusively performed by men, and throughout time, women were gradually let perform as well. Kabuki, now 4 centuries old, is one tradition that did not follow this pattern, however. In fact, it is now believed that Kabuki was formed when a group of shrine maidens started to perform around the riverbank of Kyoto. This group, or troupe, was led by Okuni. Not much is known about Okuni's personal history before or after her time with Kabuki theater. She was born sometime in the early to mid-1500s and was a daughter of a blacksmith. When she would introduce herself, she would state that she was a shrine maiden for the Izumo Tasha Grand Shrine. While this might have been true, there is no official document stating as such. Okuni first performed Kabuki while dancing at Katano Tenjin Grand Shrine, where she was equipped with 2 samurai swords, wore a man's kimono, and made performances that would essentially mock young samurai that would like to hire prostitute women. There are accounts that at some point Okuni met up with a man, Nagoya Sanzaburo. He provided her with financial and artistic support while she developed the Kabuki style. Kabuki theater is over 400 years old and combines various styles of dance and music with an exaggerated acting style. Okuni used dried-up riverbanks as her stage in Kyoto. She would travel all over the countryside to earn money for her shrine by doing performances. She loved to perform so much, and the audience loved her, and she even started to perform more than what was needed for her shrine. She would even ignore the summons from her shrine to come back so that she could continue to perform, but she would still send the money earned back to the shrine. Some of the themes of Okuni's performances were topics that were considered sensitive, like prostitution, skits about Buddhist prayers, and other themes from everyday life. This was a marked difference from Noh theater that catered more to the elite and had more traditional themes. She would bring in women from the lowest classes of society, such as outcasts and misfits, and liked to save women from prostitution. There were street performers and wanderers as well. This became what is known as Onna Kabuki, or Kabuki, performed by women only. She showed them a new and honest way to make money. Okuni was seen as, indirectly, a most influential feminist of the time. This new troupe had impressive skills in singing, dancing, and performing. The entire region's population was amazed by the group's performances. They created this sensationalism due to the eroticism of their performance as well as the exotic nature of their costuming. Every role was done by females trying to get past society's barriers on gender equality. The government was not fond of the fact that they were wearing men's clothing. Their clothing was based on costumes worn by Portuguese missionaries. Since Okuni started performing on the riverbeds, there was no official stage for Kabuki theater. It was not long before the troupe started to perform in tea houses, inns, and shops. With their popularity growing, they were invited to perform at theaters and stages. They even performed before the imperial court. Many believe that Okuni's role with Kabuki only lasted for about 10 years. By that time, other troupes had formed, imitating that of her own troupe. It was disappointing that most of these new groups made their women available to prostitution. This is something that Okuni was trying to keep the women away from and earn a more honest and honorable living. As the government had a very conservative view on women and their role within life and society, having Kabuki turn into a more scandalous and erotic performance could not be ignored. And by 1629, the shogunate had prohibited all women from performing on stage. This prohibition lasted 300 years. After the prohibition of women performing, Okuni seems to have disappeared. There are no records of where she went or even when she could have died. After Onna Kabuki was banned, the roles went to young boys, but by 1652, that was prohibited as well, as the young boys were also sold and used for prostitution. For the remainder of the 300 years, all roles of Kabuki went to men.